Episode 6 of Reina Roja starts with Carla hearing the voice of a child locked up next to her. His name is Jorge, and he says he is scared, making Carla start crying. Meanwhile, Gutierrez gets the news about the kidnapping and heads to the hospital to look for Antonia. Consequently, Antonia's father arrives at the hospital with the police, ready to arrest Antonia for murder and kidnapping. She tries to escape using a disguise, but the police get to her before she can leave. However, Gutierrez helps her escape and tells her that Ezekiel is hiding underground. A cat-and-mouse chase ensues between Antonia and the police as she tries to dodge them and still talks to Ezekiel. Sandra is not surprised that she knows about her, and she introduces a new game where Antonia has to choose between her son and Carla Ortiz. Sandra gives them 30 minutes to leave, which is as long as Antonia has to decide. Meanwhile, Fajardo is conflicted about kidnapping Jorge since he is strictly against hurting children, but Sandra convinces him that they have to do this to protect her, and Antonia poses a dangerous threat. Elsewhere, Antonia's father enters Gutierrez's room and tries to make him betray Antonia, saying that she is a dangerous person and that she kidnapped her son. Gutierrez does not give him the satisfaction of listening to his biased opinion of Antonia and tells him that he is a father who knows nothing about his daughter. Antonia's father is frustrated as he leaves the hospital room. Carla keeps Jorge company by talking to him and asking what he can see. He describes the things in his room, such as the makeup on the dressing table, the wigs, and the lights. He also acts as Carla's ears and listens to the conversations between Sandra and Fajardo. He tells her about Sandra asking her father to kill Carla slowly and painfully and make her feel all alone, and about the confrontation where Sandra blames her father for doing something to her that made her turn out all crazy. Carla tries to use the trick of appealing to Fajardo's daddy issues to try and plead with him to let go of Jorge, but the plan backfires. Meanwhile, Antonia finds refuge in the tattoo artist's house, and the young woman helps stitch her wounds to stop the bleeding. Antonia does not want to fall asleep, but the tattoo artist tells her that she needs to if she wants to find her son, and she agrees. In her sleep, her mind takes her back to the day that they were attacked at home, but a masked gunman and her husband went into a coma. They just arrived home from a dinner date, let the nanny go, and heard the doorbell ring. Marcos goes to open the door, thinking that the nanny has come back for her sweater, but a man in a monkey mask shoots him in the head, and the bullet then hits Antonia on the shoulder. The person then points a gun at Jorge, but after Antonia pleads with him, he leaves. Antonia asks Jorge to go to his room before chasing after the gunman into the underground railway system. She is bleeding, and she almost gives up when the ground beneath her feet starts sinking. Her mother shows up in the dream, telling her to keep going forward since the people threatening her only send a warning. Before she vanishes, she tells Antonia to stop living in the darkness and find the light. The scene then changes to the room Antonia is sleeping in, and there is writing on the wall similar to what Sandra had told her on the phone. She slips back to sleep and wakes when daylight clips through the curtains. She overhears the tattoo artist talking to her father about Antonia falling asleep when she was trying to comfort her. The tattoo artist helps Antonia with her disguise, and in an emotional scene, the father begs Antonia to kill him, but she refuses. Instead, she helps him connect with his daughter. Antonia starts her hunt by visiting the NBC cop they had met earlier to ask about the underground system. He shows her a map and tells him that all the illegal things like drugs and terror activities happen in Madrid's complex underground system, and it was the NBC's main grounds of operations. She asks about Fajardo and why he would fake his death, and he mentions that it was probably so he could run away with the woman he met in the asylum. Antonia remembers no woman in the asylum, but his accomplice is his daughter. The cop is confident that there is no way the woman is Fajardo's daughter. Antonia has no time to ask questions since the police have already tracked her location when she turns the phone to take photos of the underground maps. She asks the cop not to tell the police why she visited. Flashback to 4 years earlier, and Sandra meets with Fajardo in the asylum. She calls him Dad and tells him that she is not dead. Antonia escapes from the police and goes to see Gutierrez's mother, who is at first scared because she cannot recognize her but is later relieved that she is still alive. She is heading to the hospital to see Gutierrez, who is under arrest, and Antonia counts on her to help Gutierrez escape police custody. At the end of the episode, Sandra arrives back with news. Fajardo gives Carla some antibiotics for her legs, and while she is thankful, he tells her that they have moved up the timeline for her death. The episode review. With one more episode, we still know as little as we did about the mystery in the first episodes. The episode even throws us off the rails, with the cop suggesting that, unlike what we thought, Sandra might not be Fajardo's daughter. We still have no idea why Carla and Jorge were kidnapped. Why was Antonia's father convinced that she could kidnap her son? At least we know how her husband got into a coma. It is frustrating how Carla's family has been out of the picture the whole time, like no one is doing anything to try to find her. If the kidnapper wanted a public statement, why is it that they have not pushed for it again? Whatever they needed to be done felt so important that they went to the extent of kidnapping Carla to force her father's hand. However, that plot seems to have been forgotten, and we continue to get sucked into the unending mysteries and suspense in each new episode. Will Antonia rescue her son and Carla?